Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
I'm going to give you a statement. This is something I learned a few years ago, and it's pretty much changed my life. I govern my life through this one phrase. All I need is within me now. All I need is within me now. What does that mean? You can change your life, change your health, everything. You've been designed with everything you need, but you need to be able to access it, tap into it, use it as a resource. There's where the challenge comes in. If you have the right mindset, you're pretty much there, at least halfway there. And she's somebody that helps people all the time with this. She is a life coach with a passion for the power of the mind and the mindset. And we're going to get into her head, if you will, today and learn more about Trinity Baker and how she can help us all. Welcome. How you doing?
Steve, thank you so much for having me here. Oh my gosh, what an intro. Isn't that the truth? And I don't think that the people who need to know how powerful our mindsets are and that we do have everything within us, they don't know that power. And so that's literally what I'm passionate about, is getting that message. That quote is beautiful, beautifully said, and so powerful.
Took me years to learn that, and I wish I found somebody like you, because then it would have been a very short time to learn that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my client, you literally say exactly what my clients say within the first couple of weeks of their coaching with me is, where were you 10, 20, 30 years ago? Because it's life changing. We can change everything in our lives, around our lives, what we manifest, what we bring to us, what we want. But what we do is we try to change the outside when we really need to just harness what's within us. And the amazing part is that if you're here, if you're listening, if you are alive and you have a life and you're living it, you have exactly what you need to do all that.
And it's a journey. You learn things along the way. Can I share what I recently learned?
Please do.
Okay. I'm always running. I'm hooking up, hanging out with people, doing this, doing that. I keep myself busy. It's fun. I love it, blah, blah, blah. I never really take any time to do nothing.
Mm.
And I always viewed taking that time almost counterproductive. Like, you're just being a slug. You're just laying around, and I have friends. I have a lot of women who are friends, and they'll say, yeah, just laying in bed all day today. And I'm like, really? Hey, wow, what's going on? And this is full disclosure, this is only in the last like 2 months. Okay. Where I've tapped the brakes. And part of that was, some little health issues cropping up, i.e., stress, right? And I'll take the time, especially on a weekend, like a Saturday or Sunday morning, and do nothing. I'll lay in bed. I'll get my phone, DoorDash, Dunkin' Donuts, bring me a coffee, please, and a breakfast sandwich. And I just chill and do nothing, because I realized, Trinity, that I am doing something. Duh. I'm recharging my body, allowing clarity, being able to think and come up with ideas. But I looked at it completely in the opposite way. And I don't want to say I was wrong. Everything's a learning experience, but we realize these things.
But you know what? That's what society teaches us, Steve. I mean, I was a nurse working 14-hour days, and I was lucky to get one 20-minute break in a crowded parking lot in the middle of the city, if I was lucky. And so it took me a long time. I love that you discovered this 2 months ago. Every day that you live by that, I think is just such a quality day. Like, it's so amazing. And that looks different for everyone, right? Like, laying in bed, ordering DD that is perfect for you. Mine looks totally different than someone else's. And I think that that's so important, is that we find what that looks like for us. And it also varies, right? I mean, we go through different chapters of life. So if you're not getting that fulfillment, that might work for you for a couple of weeks or months, and you might start to feel off. Change it up, have different options of what that looks like. And I think that's the most important part, is knowing yourself, discovering yourself, because a lot of people don't even know what that looks like.
That was my challenge. I didn't. And in a lot of areas, until I started figuring it out. And I guess adopting a mindset, but it took me, I want to say, 2.5 years to kind of, in the last 2.5 years to kind of really figure it out. This word mindset, it's big now. Broadly, what does it mean?
Mindset it is a loaded word, especially because it's so powerful. I look at mindset as a couple of things. Mindset is really your emotions. Mindset is how you look at things, so your perception. Mindset is the resilience that you build as you go through life's challenges, life's journeys, that roller coaster that we all ride every single day. So mindset is a combination of things. What mindset is really the control that you have. Because if you think about it this way, and I love asking this question, is what do we have control over? Yeah, literally nothing, right? Other than our mindset, other than the way we look at things, the way we perceive things, the way we work through things, the way we look at challenges as growth versus these big roadblocks and barriers and things that set us back. The only thing we have control over in this world, in this roller coaster of life, this journey that we're blessed with, is our mindsets, the way that we work through these things, the joy that we find in things, right? I love the question of always asking, how can I enjoy this more? You can ask that question any point of your day in anything that you're doing, even the really crappy stuff. And I think when you realize that, that's really when you start to think, okay, this is what mindset is, because these things are going to happen. Things that we can't control are going to happen. It's people, it's places, it's events, it's situations, it's the world. It's around us and it's always going to be happening. So why not thrive through it versus surviving through it? And that's what I create in my mindset coaching, is learning how to thrive through life versus just surviving. How many people do you meet who you are like, hey, how you doing? They're like, surviving. Okay,
Getting
listen.
by, getting by, or living the dream, which means you're really not.
No, and we're not here to survive. I mean, maybe like back in the caveman years, we were here to survive, right?
Yeah,
That fight or flight where we needed to literally survive every day. But we're not animals in the wild. We don't have predators constantly on our back. So we don't need to be surviving. We're made to be thriving. And if you look at someone's life, it really is short. By the time that we start to be able to make our own decisions and create our own future, create our own current, we don't have a long life to live. So why not live it in complete thrival mode? Like, I take people out of survival mode and I put them into thrival mode, and then I teach them how to stay there. And it really is the most beautiful things. I have people who are in their 50s, 60s say to me, like, I am so happy that I'm thriving now. Like, the next 5, 10, whatever years I'm blessed with are going to be so much more quality than the years I've had. It's
totally.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's if you look at it, the 70 is the new 50, 60 is the new 40. And if you look at it astrologically, if you're between the ages of 57 and I believe it's like 61, 62, it's called a second return. So it's almost like your second life is starting over again. Um, I want to go back to what you said a second ago,
Yeah.
in that thinking about how you can enjoy this more situation, you're at an event. Is that a good way to look at things, or does that also set you up for, I'm never satisfied? It can always be better. It can always be better. What are your thoughts?
I think that it's a slippery slope. I think it depends what mindset you have. If you have a growth, blessed gratitude mindset, it sends you down a path of gratitude, like even more gratitude. Like, I might be, you can, because you can take this at any situation, right? You might be in a really great situation where you're like around family and friends and you're just at awe and you want to experience even more of that gratitude and abundance and blessing feeling. That's a great way to ask yourself, how can I enjoy this more? You might be in a crappy situation where you're like, oh, I'm really dreading doing something, right? And when I ask myself that, I'm thinking, how can I enjoy this more? That's usually like, what do I have control over here? Can I change the space that I'm doing this task? Can I change the people who are with me doing this task? Or really, is it just a mindset shift that I need to make? Like, this is why I'm doing this. This is my why. It's impactful. It's, whatever that the meaning is, maybe it's changing the meaning. But if you're someone who is in a negative space, someone who doesn't harness the power of gratitude in your mindset, asking that question will lead you down that slippery slope of complete misery. And so don't ask yourself that question if you're not in the right spot, because you really have to understand that gratitude, abundance, blessing, like you have to live from that space if you want to be able to enjoy life, period. And so you have to have sort of this understanding of what you can control in mindset and positivity and gratitude to make that question impactful and actually use it to its full advantage. But if you are someone who you use that question and you kind of go down that slippery slope, it also might be like this key where you can like start to make that own little path of, like I said, small little shifts that actually make you enjoy doing something. Because it doesn't even have to be something that you're dreading. Some people just need to ask that question, period, to realize how much of a blessing this moment really is.
I am thinking in my mind ever since you said it that we can't control anything except our mind. And I know that, but in my mind, I'm trying to see if there is something. So as you said it, I'm flicks are going through visuals. Is there anything that I can control other than that? But there really isn't. And when life deals you those challenges and you say, oh, this happened to me. What has happened? First of all, you don't want to be a victim. So get that off your plate. But number two is you can control how you react to it. And that's the game changer right there.
It's reacting versus responding. And we need to focus on responding versus reacting, right? And so if you think about it, when someone is doing something, saying something, when you are experiencing something, unless we are brain surgeons, unless we are part of a crisis team, we are always given at least a few seconds, 3 to 5 seconds, to be able to respond to someone. If you don't find yourself taking that 2, 3, 4 seconds to think about your response, you're immediately reacting. It's also a great way to know that you're not really listening. You're listening to respond and react versus
You're listening to you.
listen to you, which is so common. Like, and I'm not shaming this. I
Yeah.
about this because I want people to know that this is this common. That voice that's in your head, listening to yourself, like it's real. We have to be able to calm that inner chatter in order to step into our true selves. Like our true selves are camouflaged, are pushed down, are minimized by that inner chatter that everything creates around us, like that comparison and all negative thinking, why me, the self-doubt, that just makes that inner voice, that inner chatter so much louder.
Yeah. Yep. And it goes right back to you're going to send an email or a text and something has happened.
Yeah.
Take time and just marinate on it. And I've had this in the last week. A number of things happen. And I took the time, see how it's going to resolve itself. If it didn't the way it needs to, then press the send button. Same thing with a text. Is it kind? Is it show your best side? Is it supportive for all? Is it for the greater good? Yes, you want to curse somebody out. I get it. What's it going to do anyway? It's going to make you feel better. You know what? Take like you're saying, take that time, whatever it is, 10 seconds, you'll feel better after you process it.
You will, and it gets rid of that guilt, right? How many times have you sent a message or said something hurtful and you're like, oh, I really didn't want to say that, or I didn't want to say it like that. It allows you to really like take it back before it even happens.
Sure.
And I love that word, like marinating in it, like really sit with it. It's reflection. That's why like I teach a lot of my clients to do reflection journaling when you want to say something, when you want to write that message or that email or call that person and you're like, oh, you're getting the stomach butterflies and you're like frog in your throat and you feel pulse is going up. Like just take a quick blank piece of paper, back of the receipt, whatever it is, notes on your phone, and we all carry phones these days, and just reflect. Say what you want to say, look at it, read it. That will prepare you for, one, does it need to be said? It will be very clear when you do reflection journaling if it needs to be said or not. Doesn't need to be said in a different way. Number two. And number three, is this really my true self? I
Mm.
love asking my clients that, and I love asking myself that. Is this really coming from me, or is this coming from that doubt, that fear, that hurt, that resentment, which is not our true selves? And so if you can answer the question, yes, is this your true self, then go for it. But if you can't, then hold on, reflect. And sometimes it takes days. Sometimes it
Oh,
takes.
yeah, yeah. But guess what? Even if you're right, even if somebody did something, they continually to do something that's just not correct, and for the greater good, not just for one person. Even if you are right, you'll be more right if you take, like you're saying, the time to just sit, lean back on it. Do you really need to type fast and hit the send button? Do you really need to do that at that moment? Probably not. I'm going to say most likely you don't.
Yeah, and every time you take, it's one step at a time, right? I think like society teaches us we have to take this 0 to 100 strategy. 0 to 100 doesn't work. How many times have you like done a 0 to 100 diet or done a 0 to 100 lifestyle? It doesn't work, right? So just take one step at a time. And at this point, one step at a time in this situation looks like recognizing this is an opportunity, taking that step. Then you're building that muscle. That's really becoming your true self, is like, I am now a type of person that takes the time to respond versus react.
Mhm.
Now, you also need to give yourself grace in those moments where you may react. We are all human. We're not these robots that we can just program. We
Yep.
come with traumas and history that does cause reactions. And so my favorite word is grace. Give yourself grace. When it happens, give yourself grace. There's no point in beating ourselves up for the things that we can't take back and can't control, right? But we can move forward. And when you give yourself grace, you're giving yourself motivation to move forward from that and learn, versus when you beat yourself up, you're going to feel immediate shame. And that's not good for anyone.
Mm. You you said that you were a nurse for a lot of years. I detect that it was kind of unfulfilling, especially when you had a 15-minute break in between. And there's a lot going on. I'm detecting also you're an empath, so you connect with people. Tell us about your journey.
Yeah. Oh, it's such a beautiful journey. And it's not beautiful in a way that was perfect. It's beautiful in a way that was very imperfect. Yeah, I was a nurse for like 13, 14 years, still am a nurse. I still carry my license and I still do what I choose to do versus what I feel like I have to do. Because I am that person. I really want to make that impact. And when I became a nurse, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make this huge impact. I wasn't sure how, I wasn't sure what that looked like. But I was very clear I wanted to make an impact. And unfortunately, I tried many different fields of nursing and I never really felt like I was making that massive impact that I wanted to make. I was changing lives, but I wasn't making that major impact that I wanted to make. And one of my last experiences in nursing was psychiatric nursing. And I've always had this passion for mental health. I come from a family that is just peppered with mental health issues. And so I really wanted to understand that. I wanted to work into it. So I did. I was in a psychiatric hospital, Maine's largest state psychiatric hospital. And it just was like the complete opposite of what I wanted to do. And I was like, okay, I know I am here to make an impact. I know this is the field I want to work in as far as mental health and mental wellness, but this is not what I want to do. This is not fulfilling. I was working 3 jobs at that point. Like it just wasn't good. And so, I was open to change. And I think that's the most important part, is when you put out to the universe that you're open for change, stuff happens. Universe makes stuff happen, whatever higher power you believe in, right? And so that's exactly what it did. It led me down a new journey. I was open to the new journey because I wasn't closed-minded in saying, okay, well, I got 30K in nursing debt. I got to stay in this career. I was totally open. I was very unhappy. So that's why I was totally open, like just show me the road. And that's what it did. And so over the last 4 years, I really dived deep into different opportunities. I'm open to any opportunity that comes with me. That's why we're here today, Steve. And so um, I dove deep into really like how I got myself out of depression. How did I get myself out of that anxiety? I used to have such bad social anxiety that I couldn't walk into a room if there was more than one or two people in it. And so here I am doing podcasting. I'm a podcast host myself, motivational speaker, it is incredible where I am today, but it's because I was willing to work through the challenges I was experiencing: depression, anxiety. I felt unstuck. I felt unfulfilled. Because I was able to work through that, I now teach other people how to do that. I bring people out of those holes because I thank God I knew how to get myself out of that with everything that I was taught. But there's a lot of people that don't. And so I truly feel led to this. And this is why we're here today, because it is an impact I want to make. I want everyone to know that the way you're feeling today does not need to be the way you're feeling tomorrow, does not need to be the way you're feeling next year, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Let's thrive, you know?
I I'm seeing a visual of you with all the stuff that was kind of weighing you down. And wow, I can't believe you're you and you came from here. But it seems like the best description I have is you had chains on you and you just getting pulled down by, be it depression, be it your job situation and all of that. And finally the change came off and you were able to be you, blossom the real you out there. And yes, if you're open to change, I'm going to say it, I'm open for change right now. It's almost as if you're saying, like that song, Jesus Take the Wheel. It's like, you drive, man. It's okay. And if you're not religious or whatever, universe, take the wheel, drive. I'm good.
Right? Anything. And I tell my clients, like, I don't care what your spiritual beliefs are, your higher power beliefs, I'm there with you. Whatever you want to call it, I'm there with you. But the most important thing is that you have it, because that allows you to know you're not alone. And that is the most important thing in this journey of life. We're not alone, and you have to have the right supports, whether it be a quick support like a coach, couple of weeks, couple of months, whether it be a long-term friend, whether it be a therapist, whatever that support is for you, that's wonderful. But make sure you know you are not alone, and it is a proactive support, right? A good support.
I can't believe you're saying this. We're just about out of time, but in my journey, 2 weeks ago, I joined a men's group. I would have never done that. Somebody I respect, suggest he was my sponsor. It's not like a call. They're not, initiation dues or anything like that. And this week, the last meeting we had, that's what we went around the room and saying, what are you alone in? What are you alone in? And all different views, of what what people are dealing with, guys are dealing with. And it's refreshing to see that we're all dealing with a lot of the same stuff. It's kind of crazy.
So true. So true. It's so important. I love that for you, Steve. I think everyone should have that support in some way, somehow, if not a lot of it, right? Like, one is great, but let's just like flood our lives with a bunch of support, like-minded people who are going in the right direction.
Yeah. How do we change our direction through you?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so the easiest way is to find me at my website, which is easy, thetrinitybaker.com. You can find me in all major social media platforms. Same thing, the Trinity Baker. I post so much inspirational, positive content. So if you're looking for some instant inspiration, go find me on your favorite social media platform. But I also have a free training because I am so passionate about this. I want everyone to access the power of their mindset in 5 quick days. All you got to do is text my mindset to 85100 and you'll get my free 5-day training.
Super cool. Wow. Refreshing talking with you. Your energy is like literally off the scale. Your passion is off the scale. And I wish I learned all of this stuff or you years ago, because I don't want to say I did it alone. There were, people around, but I didn't do it in a very focused way that somebody can do it with you. And there's still, we're on journey. Still got more to work on. Still more coming up.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Steve. I'm looking forward to seeing you again soon.
Yep, absolutely. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.